Scottish Government sees £19.5 billion go to health and social care. Over £14 billion goes to our NHS boards, which is a real terms increase of 3%. Now, I accept the fact that a lot of that is going to be taken up with the investment that we're making in our workforce and ensuring that they're getting fair pay and remuneration off the back of the negotiations that we've had with our trade union colleagues.
For workforce, not for services?
Well, obviously we cannot deliver the service without a strong workforce. We've got record levels of people working in our NHS across all specialties. We've seen that investment, and indeed in NHS borders we've had a 15% real terms increase over the last since 2010, over 80% cash increase in their budget over that same period. But I recognise that all of our public services, health, social care and other public services are facing the impact of a decade and a half of Conservative austerity. So
it's somebody else's fault? You're blaming the Conservatives. You're the Health Minister in Scotland.
You
just said it's about Conservative austerity.
I want to set out the context here, Peter, because the impact that has both on people's health, we already have seen various studies from academics on the health impacts that austerity has caused, but also the very practical element of the continued erosion of our public services through those cutbacks, and we're seeing that in evidence across the UK. This is important context.
You're not taking responsibility here, Minister.
I am taking responsibility because we're continuing to invest and we're making strategic priority of our health and social care service. That was in evidence in the budget negotiations, that we had to have very difficult decisions to take, and we chose to continue to invest in our health and social care services, but the pressures remain, and I understand that, and that's what I will continue to work with our boards, our workforce, to ensure as best as we possibly can that we're able to work through those.
A&E figures out today, 58.9% of people in the Scottish borders seen within 4 hours, 79.9% seen at Dumfries and Galloway, way below your targets. This is consistent over years. The only time it's been met has been during COVID. Is there a fundamental problem with having targets at all, or do you want to see those health boards and the hospitals meet those targets?
Of course I want to see our hospitals and our health boards meet those targets.
How will they do that? They haven't done it for years.
And I think it's really important. The work that has been done that I've already referenced around the triaging of where people receive the most appropriate care is important. Making sure we have good flow through our system. So working on a partnership basis on a health and social care perspective, making sure that our integrated joint boards are working effectively to ensure that we're driving down on delayed discharge. This is all incredibly important because I want to make sure that we continue to have a service that meets the needs of people when they need it. And it's not acceptable for us to have people waiting longer than they need to in our accident and emergency. So the fact that we haven't met our targets in the borders is a real concern of mine.
So you're going to stick to targets? Because there is an argument that targets actually distort the statistics. That some doctors would argue that you're treating someone who isn't as much a priority as somebody else in order to meet the targets. But you're sticking to the targets.
No, I think that's important.
Yeah,
and
okay.
We don't have the same targets regime or the same publication of that targets elsewhere in the UK, but we still know that in spite of the pressures that we're under, the context is, post-pandemic, we still have the best performing accident and emergency services anywhere in the United Kingdom, and that has been the case for 8 years. I understand that that is little comfort to people who are waiting too long. That's why it's important that we continue to see the reform agenda come through, continue to see what we can to make sure that our hospitals, our accident emergencies are as productive as possible, so that we have that good flow through the system and that people are seen when they need to be.